Welcome back to the Backlog Gamer. This is Aaron, this is my backlog, and this is Alan Wake. Now, before we actually continue on with the actual game, I have a little bit of confession to make. And if you've already seen my episode of Dark Souls, you'll know what I'm about to explain. I made a mistake when I sat down to play Dark Souls and Alan Wake this past time. I had not turned on the microphone for my recording software from a previous recording I was trying to do for a new series where I don't, do live commentary. So I was playing Dark Souls, I was playing Alan Wake, I was commenting on everything that was going on like I normally do, and it didn't record any of it. So I am narrating what I'm doing now rather than giving live commentary on it. Now, if you have forgotten, I am trying to meet up with the murderer, the kidnapper. Oh my god, I hope he's not a murderer. The kidnapper, and he originally gave me a location somewhere, and he never showed up for 6 hours. God knows how long Alan was waiting there, and now he's telling Alan to go somewhere else, and this led me to a cave. I was actually, now look, see right here, I want to point out, it looks kind of like dusk outside. Now, like it looks light out, and earlier it was definitely nighttime, it wasn't daytime, and now that I'm in the cave, I assumed that, I don't know, Alan had somehow been out in here the entire time. I really don't know. But later on in the episode, you'll see something that really confused me. I got lost here a bit. I really did. I think I got turned around a few times, and I was trying to find where to go next and what the right path was. I admit I was actually surprised that there weren't as many enemies in this cave system. I mean, especially if it was supposed to be daytime outside, I was surprised that, I would think that this cave would be a way for the game to say, oh, hey, here's the enemies you're gonna fight.
Even behind the closed doors and curtains of his grimy room at the Majestic, the local motel, Nightingale could feel the locals' eyes on him, the unrelenting pressure of their judgment. He forced it out of his mind. For all he knew, they could all be under Wake's spell already. You do what you have to do to get the job done. He took comfort from the bottle in his hand. Please, he thought, just let me get through this.
Now that I thought was interesting. I thought it was weird that Nightingale, I guess, seems to be under the impression that Alan is able to somehow, I don't know, possess or whatever these guys, or maybe he's a cult leader or something. Especially with what happened with Rose. I mean, you wouldn't be able to explain what happened to Rose. And even now, oh, that really surprised me. They came out of nowhere. I was really annoyed about that. Huh. And I also forgot about that guy. Alright, so moving along. Trying not to get lost. Picking up a thermos that God knows how long that's been in the cave system. Just sitting there. Whatever. Alan really likes coffee thermoses. It's not even like he's collecting unique coffee thermoses. It's all the same coffee thermos over and over again. He has a stockpile of the same exact coffee thermos, just, I don't know, in the back of a truck or something. Ah, and here's a puzzle that actually wasn't really that hard. It
I'd
was
have to
just
make my
time
way
consuming.
up this mine shaft in order to go on. Maybe the machinery could help me with that.
And it also begs, I mean, he called it a mine shaft, but that's not really an elevator. It's just a, you know, I guess a crane system that has a bunch of pieces of wood tied to it. I find it hard to believe that these miners who, you know, back in the day were using this makeshift elevator to get up and down. And it's not even like going up and down. Like, this section that I'm in right now serves no purpose that I can tell of, and I can see of, except to just zigzag back and forth to go all the way to the top. It's not like there's another hallway behind me or something, and that led to another mine shaft or another mining section or something. No. This entire area right here was purely designed to be some sort of puzzle. And that kind of breaks the immersion a little bit in a game that is otherwise pretty immersive. It's kind of disappointing. Maybe I'm thinking too much about this. Maybe I'm overanalyzing this, but this game is so immersive in so many ways. And then there are things that are in it just for the sake of it being a game, so it has to be in it. And I've played other games, you know, don't ask me off the top of my head, that do it well, but there are games out there where the puzzles and everything else about the world fits within the atmosphere that the game provides, and it doesn't really break the immersion. I mean, the whole supernatural part of this is supposed to be it's supposed to be a fairly realistic world, except for the supernatural elements. So anything that seems out of the ordinary of that real world just, makes you remember that, this world isn't real. And I know that sounds silly, it's a video game and everything, but it just seems to go against what the game is trying to provide. And now, look, I get upstairs and it's nighttime again. I don't quite understand why it definitely wasn't night earlier and now it's night again. Maybe it really was just the coloring. I don't know. So I'm trying to go down here and then I realize, oh no, the waypoint actually points in that direction, so going up probably be some sort of secret. And then Alan gets stuck on a stair. I'm trying to push up. I was pushing up, no problem, and then Alan just decides to stop at the next stair, and he apparently cannot climb that one step, and I could not figure out why. And right here is when I know I've been playing Dark Souls too much, because from this distance, it looked like that little fort with a ladder, or whatever it is, was actually just a big storage container for, I don't know, boulders or logs or something, and I thought walking up those stairs that the door holding these boulders or logs was gonna break and it was gonna be a trap and they were gonna come tumbling at me. That's what playing Dark Souls will do to you. Everything is possibly a trap, and every corner that you go up and every hill
of Cauldron Lake Lodge
could be deadly.
Tor Anderson laughed and held the steel hammer above his head. Nurse Sinclair was trying to calm him down without success. Tor grinned madly and shouted, "My hammer's up. Here's a friendly poke from Molnir, wench." He brought the hammer down with all his might on Sinclair's head. "We're on a comeback tour, baby."
And this was interesting. This introduces an element that I kind of know about. I know there's a band part in the game, and I know that it's actually considered to be one of the more favorite parts with a lot of players. I don't know much more than that though, so, but it's actually interesting to see that element get introduced. And birds. However, I was even saying at this point, like, once I know where the birds are coming from, it's really not that big of a deal, because they save ammo. I don't have to shoot them. And then right here, again, it's a game.
Great. Another cable car. Great.
And even Alan kind of makes a comment to it. Oh, another cable car. That's just great. And yet, I know there's going to be something that happens along this cable car ride to stop me. And especially with how long it is. You know something's going to happen. In this case, I knew there was going to be some birds to attach. Now, it's interesting that Alan... See, there they are. I felt pretty clever myself using the flares when they ambushed me like that, but, you know... And then I felt, you know, not so proud of myself. Okay, but... Part's getting a little loud, so I don't want it to possibly... overstep my volume. And now the trees are trying to kill Alan. Ah, yes, but what I was trying to say earlier, before it got a little too loud, was that Alan brought attention to the fact that, oh great, another cable car, showing that he knew something was going to go wrong, something was going to go bad, and yet, because he brought attention to it, it makes it okay. And I call that, I think I mentioned it in a previous video before, I call it the Stargate effect, because Stargate, that scared the crap out of me. Oh man, I actually even kind of forgot about that. Oh, that actually made me jump. I said, great, now the sky's throwing trains at me. Oh boy. Okay. But yeah, in Stargate SG-1, they like to kind of poke fun at themselves, and one of the things they brought up was the whole aspect that as long as you bring attention to a Deus Ex Machina or something along those lines, as long as you bring attention to something that usually makes viewers go, huh, wait a second, that was awfully convenient, then it's okay. But yeah, so, by the way, earlier in this show, I know I tried shooting a bunch of cans and missed, and and right here I was actually talking about how I first thought you couldn't shoot them, but I then learned, oh, well, obviously you can, and the reason why I had that difficulty shooting them is because there's no crosshairs in this game, and I was commenting how I like that. I like that there's no crosshairs, because I like the fact that, I don't know, kind of, again, adds to the immersion, adds to the whole atmosphere of the game in a way that you kind of don't have that precision aiming, and you don't necessarily need it either, but, I don't know, I just kind of really dig that. Not much to say here. I do know that I am approaching the next checkpoint, in which case that's when I end up calling the episode. Hopefully next time I play, I'll be smart and actually record what I'm saying. So yes, I hope this episode was good for you. I am having a lot of fun with this game. I am liking the fact that there's a lot of gameplay here right now, not a lot of cutscenes, but thank you for letting me waste your time, and I will continue on to try and get that kidnapper and try and save Alice. So, until next time, adios.